This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. Laura Posey, the queen of success plans, the queen of planning, tools. Website is simplesuccessplans.com. Where do coaches, speakers, consultants, and solopreneurs screw this up? How do we know that we are as hopeless as we are when it comes to planning and implementation and execution? Let's start there.
I think some people naturally just love planning. Like they'll say, oh, I'm a natural planner. I got to write everything down. I got a checklist for everything. And I think a lot of folks that are creative and express themselves really well aren't naturally so good at all of those details and all of that planning. I think what makes them so good on the stage and so good in consulting and coaching is that ability to respond, that ability to think on their feet, to show up and adapt. And that's an incredibly powerful skill. But when you try to run a business that way, and you think, I'm just going to wing it in my business, that's where the wheels start to fall off. And so if you can take that power that you already have, that adaptability, that flexibility, that ability to think on your feet, and marry that to a plan, that is a recipe for an amazing business.
Well, let's dial back the hands of time.
Yes.
And how did Laura Posey come to be doing what she's doing today? Give us a quick sketch of that professional journey, previous lives, previous careers that got you to where you are in this business now.
So I have done a lot of things. I have sold knives door to door. I've sold cars. I've sold insurance. I've been a regional sales manager for an insurance company. I've been a cook. I've worked in barns and trained horses. I've done all sorts of really fun stuff. But I was a regional sales manager for an insurance company, and a fellow that I know really well said, hey, let's go start a sales training company together, which we did. And about 5 years into that, I realized that I hated every single part of my life. I didn't want to put on a suit every day. I didn't want to go to an office. I didn't want to pay for an office. I didn't want to be doing the same training over and over again. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew it wasn't that. And so I ran away to Sedona, Arizona I called it a sabbatical, but it really was running away, trying to figure out how to get out of my business. And while I was there, I had a really interesting experience of getting lost in the desert because I didn't take a map. And I had that moment where I went, oh my gosh, this is exactly how I'm running my business. I don't have a map. And this is why I hate it. And so I sat down that night and created a plan. It was a 1-page strategic plan. I said, I got to figure out what I really want to build and channel all of my energies into building that thing and say no to everything else. And part of what was on that plan was going back and figuring out how to get out of the business partnership and get out from under the rent and just all the employees and all the stuff that I was not enjoying. And then I decided that it would be really fun to take that plan that had worked for me and see if it would work for other people. And luckily I found we now call them clients. At the time we called them guinea pigs, who were willing to put a little work in and help me really build this plan and make it functional for everybody, not just me.
Now, the way that you deliver this, I think, is pretty interesting also. Did you do a lot of one-on-one coaching and consulting in the early days, or did you go right to the scalable model that you have now?
I did all of the testing and the refining one-on-one. So I would fly to somebody's office and lock myself in a room with them for a day. The big thing was, look, we're going to spend one day, we're going to get it all done, and it's going to be on a single sheet of paper. And so I worked with lots of different small businesses. I worked with startups. I even took it to my biggest client is about a $27 billion multinational. And they brought in a new North American president and said, hey, can you come in and do that stuff you do with us? Will it work for a big team? And not knowing whether it would or not, I promised them that it would. And it had to, because we had one day together, and the very next day, he was presenting the plan on stage at their North American sales kickoff. So I just tested it a lot before I realized, you know what, I can't go talk to everybody. I need to scale for myself because I want to get this in the hands of other people. And so that's when I was able to turn it into an online course and help people learn how to do it on their own.
Now, I'm guessing when what you said is totally spot on about speakers and creative people, not only do they not sometimes have the planning gene, they sometimes are even unaware that they have a planning problem because no one says, man, you know what, Laura, I got a planning problem, my friend.
Right.
I need some planning. So what are the symptomatic gotchas, ooch, ouch, pain, problem, heartache, headache, challenge that should make me think as I'm listening to this, wait a second, she's talking to me. I have this problem in my business. So what are some of the symptomatic traits when we're not doing this the right way?
One of the big ones is just spending a lot of time and money on things that never actually pan out, right? So there's like everything's an opportunity and you chase everything that's an opportunity and most of it turns to naught. And so you end up spending just massive amounts of time and money on things that don't work. There's also that feeling of, I wish there was a path I could follow. I wish I just could get up every day and go do the stuff that I knew was going to work and do that stuff. And at the end of the day, go, yep, I checked off today and I'm good. I can go to sleep. I can go to hang out with my family guilt-free because I know I got everything done today and there's stuff waiting for me tomorrow, but I know what it is and I know that it's going to work. And so there's that feeling of being unfocused, of being a little anxious, of being worried that you're not doing the right things at the right time to get where you really want to go. And sometimes there's the thing that happened to me, which was I built a business, but I hated it. So I got up every morning and went, oh man, this is a job. And I left the job because I didn't want that type of life. I didn't want to be the first one in and the last one out. And I didn't want to be responsible for everything.
For sure. One thing that I think is interesting from your background that you mentioned that you were in sales and sales management.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, when it comes to planning of any kind, financial planning, life planning, work planning, business planning, they say, well, this all is great. I'm working with the right clients. I'm doing the right kind of work. If you're a speaker and you love to speak, then you're doing more speaking than consulting. If you're a consultant, you love to consult, but you hate to speak, you're doing more consulting. I'm channeling our listeners, and our listeners are probably thinking, well, this is great, but I got to sell this thing. So where does the marketing and the sales, not only the activity, because I can plan all kinds of sales activity. If I suck at it, I'm not going to make a sale that day or that week or sometimes even that month. Where does planning intersect with skill?
Interesting. That's a great question. So I think one of the things with planning that is so helpful is that when you start to lay out everything that needs to be done and you really step back and look at, okay, what is the job? What are the things that need to be done? What does this whole thing look like if I'm going to be successful? And you get to see things in your plan that you go, yeah, I don't want to do that. And so now you've got a list of things that you know you need to outsource. There's tons of stuff on my plan every year that needs to be done, but I'm not going to do it. And I have a team of people that I can push things off to. I have a team of contractors. And so I can go, hey, Kim, this is for you. Hey, Stephanie, this is for you. Hey, Jason, this is your stuff. And I know it's going to get done because it's a plan. You know, the example I use all the time of what a really good plan is it's like when you go to build a house, right? When you go to build your dream house, it starts with a drawing of what it is that you want. And you start with figuring out how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms. And is it going to be, you know, Greek revival or traditional something or glass and steel? Like, what's it going to look and feel like to be there? And then you create a blueprint. And the blueprint is really a strategic plan. And then the blueprint turns into a punch list. And the cool thing about having a punch list is you can go hire a bunch of minimum wage people who speak 7 different languages, and they can build anything that you want. And it's the same way with your business. When you know what it is that you want to build, and you have that blueprint, you have that strategic plan, that turns into a punch list. And so it becomes really easy to go, oh, these 7 tasks are for Kim, and these 4 tasks are for Jason, and Stephanie's going to do those 11 things. And I'm not. I'm going to be the general contractor.
You know, this all sounds so fantastic. And it sounds even more fantastic if we're bringing in $400,000 or $500,000 a year. Hey, good looking. Are you currently getting paid to speak? Would you like to ramp that up? We can help. Book a confidential speaker strategy call with our team at doitmarketing.com/call, and let's see what we might do together. The call is free, but the results may be priceless. You also help people get to their first $100,000 year.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about there is, I'm guessing it's not $100,000 of revenue. It's $100,000 of their take-home pay.
Right. Yes.
So that might be a $200,000 or $250,000 or $300,000 solopreneur business.
Yep.
They've got $150,000 of expenses, but hey, I get to keep $150K for the first time ever.
Right. I want them to have a $100,000 salary.
Yeah.
I want them to know I'm getting paid every 2 weeks and it's going to equal $100K.
Yeah. Now, before we get there, and I want to go back to your outsourcing, I want to contrast these two ideas. A lot of people that are at that, I'm taking home $100K, they say, well, I can't afford to outsource this. I can't afford to hire Kim and Jason and Bob and Fran. And, they're saying, Laura, where's this money coming from to outsource my business development, sales, marketing, website, social media, content marketing? Where does the money come from? And should people be making that investment perhaps before they're ready psychologically, but you can guarantee them that they're ready financially, even if they don't feel ready psychologically?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to understand the opportunity cost, right? Like as a business owner, your time should be worth no less than, let's say, $250 an hour. We'll just make up a number. Some people are worth $500 or $1,000 an hour. And so every single hour that you spend doing work that is worth less than that is time you don't have to do work that is worth that. So if what you're good at is the work and being the talent, invest in a $20 or $25 an hour person to start doing just a few things for you, right? Start really small. Kim and I have been working together for 5 years now. And when we started out, I probably only gave her 3 hours a week. She's probably pushing 25 or 30 for me now. And I just brought on Stephanie this year. Jason's been working for me. But again, these are contractors. So they're working on an as-needed basis, pull them when I need them. And they have other people that help support their families. So the burden isn't all on me. And I think it's just getting started and realizing, oh, there's somebody that can do this stuff. Like I'll give you an example. I just hired Kim's daughter to do a bunch of memes for me. So every day on all of our websites, we have a beautiful picture and a really great motivational quote. And they're done automatically. And Kim's college daughter gets $10 an hour. She loves to work in Canva. She has a blast searching up the quotes. She thinks this is great fun and oh my goodness, I get paid for it. And she goes in and loads everything up and I never have to touch it. Because that work would just irritate me. And because it irritated me, I wouldn't get it done.
Right. Now, what do you see as some of the other, besides the outsourcing and partnering? You've got this fantastic program that's the Breakthrough 100K Club. You've got the Simple Success Plan online course. What are some of the other levers and triggers that could get us either working less or working smarter and earning more so that we can bring in that $100,000 salary in our own business?
Yeah, so this is an oldie but a goodie, and probably everybody on the call has already heard this, but if you're not doing it, it's not going to help. And it's figuring out who your ideal clients are and ignoring everybody else on the planet. Stop trying to be all things to all people. Find what we call your bullseye market. So you've got a target, but a target's pretty big. You can start with a target and then whittle it down to your bullseye. These are the people who absolutely desperately want what I have, and only talk to them and only create things for them. And the strangest thing will happen to you. You will get hyper-focused and you will dig deep and people will be beating down your door because you are known as the person that can solve this problem or that works with these people. And the little piece of your brain is going, but it's not enough. I guarantee you, whatever market you pick, you could pick one-legged storage company owners, and I guarantee there's enough of them to make you happy. But the other thing that's really weird is when you get known for being good at one thing, people from outside of that come in and they say, hey, I know you're really good at this and you only work with these people, and I'm not one of them, but could you help me? And we always say the same thing. I'd love to talk with you. If I can help you, I will. If I can't, I'll refer you to somebody who can. And that referral always generates a 10% referral fee. So classic example, I am in front of an audience on Monday doing strategic planning with a big company. And we're doing our thing. Guy comes up to me afterwards. And I had joked about, said, well, Laura always gets paid. I always get a referral fee. And it was just a one-off comment. The guy came up to me and he said, I have these 2 client projects and I really need help. Do you think you could do these 2 projects for me? And I looked at the 2 projects and I said, these are so not my thing, but I know exactly the right person. And he looked at me, he said, and make sure she adds the 10% referral fee to her fee. And so that was, I sent an email and I checked with my person to make sure that everything was good, put it together, boom, done. And now, even though it's not something I do, I'm still going to get paid. Because you when you get really good at one thing, people see you as highly competent and they'll come to you for everything.
The halo effect, right?
Yeah.
For the folks that are already paying themselves $100,000 or more, you have this one-day deep dive like you did with the $27 billion company.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, is it the same structure and process for a $27 billion company than it would be for a $270,000 solopreneur?
It absolutely is. Honestly, the difference is the number of extremely highly paid, egotistical people in the room trying to do the plan. So for a $27 billion company, I've got senior level executives. There's 17 of them. And we're trying to reach consensus on goals and targets and vision and metrics and the things that go into the plan. If I'm working with a solopreneur, we're doing exactly the same process. We just have one decision maker. So it's a lot easier process. The multi-decision maker ones really do require facilitation. The one I did on Monday was 13 people.
13 egos.
Yeah. And 13 opinions and 13 lenses and perspectives and experiences. And you have to weave all of that in so that everybody feels heard and that everybody buys into the plan.
Right. Absolutely. I want to go back to your great wisdom around the bullseye target market. A lot of people, and I've got a very simplistic answer to this, and I'd love you to either validate that or go, no, dude, it's a lot more going on there. And I'm happy either way because I'm not a strategic planning guy. People say, well, I love social workers and, I love nursing and healthcare. And I've done some really great work in high tech. And they come to you and say, well, Laura, I don't know. And you can look at it, ask a whole bunch of questions after that. You can also say, well, healthcare, high tech, social workers, and high school students. Which one do you think will help you make the most money?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's not a lot of money in high school students. There's some, but not a lot.
Right.
Social workers, probably so-so. Again, low to medium.
Yeah.
High tech, plenty of money. This other one, plenty of money. Is it purely a financial decision, or is it where our heart is, or what our mission is in the world? Or how do we make that very tough decision of which bullseye to zero in on?
Yeah, I think you have to ask yourself a couple of questions, right? So for me, one of the key questions is, who do I really enjoy working with, right? Just because I can make a bunch of money in high tech doesn't mean I like the people. So I have several professions that are on my no list. I just don't enjoy the people who are typically in those professions. And so I immediately, I'm sorry, I'm fully booked. I got to hand you off. And that's fine. So I think you've got to choose people that you really enjoy working with. And then I really do think you look at, one, where can I make a big impact, right? Where can I really do great work and get great results? Because that's going to feed the referral machine. And then from there, I think you do rank it economically from high to low, because it's a bit of a Robin Hood sort of thing, right? You can go work for the high tech folks, make a ton of money, and then go volunteer with the high school people, right? Go make money in one market and give it away in the other. Give away your time in the markets that can't afford you. Or you can charge lower fees and make it affordable for them. Or create an online course so that you can get things that match for them economically.
Great advice. I'm reminded of this insane story, and I'm sure you've got more like it. A woman came to me, this was a couple years, way more than a couple years ago, about 10 years ago. She was a photographer and a web designer. And she said, David, I want a business plan competition. So I'm here in Philadelphia. It's like a Wharton School business competition. She says, would you like to see my plan that won the award? I was like, yeah, I'd love to see your plan. She sends me the plan. Laura, I kid you not, here's the plan. Year 1, lose $60,000.
Oh my
Year
goodness.
2, lose $30,000. And year 3, make $30,000. Question that's going through my head is, who are the judges in this business plan competition exactly? I said, so I looked at her square in the face and I said, so let me get this right. Your plan, which is it's not a prediction. This is what you want to have happen.
Right.
You want to lose $90,000, make $30,000 3 years from now. So now you're only negative $60,000 in the hole. And fast forward that 3 years from today. That's what you want? She goes, well, I figured there's expenses. I'm not sure. Have you seen this kind of craziness where the plan is, let's lose 100,000, let's lose $10 million, let's be Amazon? I mean, Amazon can lose millions of dollars in their first 6 years and not be profitable. Solopreneur probably can't.
Well, and I'll tell you, that type of a plan will ruin a marriage faster than anything, because that money's got to come from someplace. And it's coming from family finances, it's coming from credit card debt, and it will just destroy your relationships. And it'll destroy your self-esteem, right? Because that debt, as it piles up, and I speak from experience, I did that. I did the whole, let me blow a bunch of money and get nothing for it. And oh my gosh, it's so painful, the shame and the humiliation and that sense of, how am I ever going to pay this back? It'll kill you. And there's so many ways, particularly in today's marketplace, there's so many ways to do things inexpensively. You don't need money to make money. There will be times in your business where you do need to invest. And when it's time, you need to step up and make the investment, make it very consciously, and make it with a plan, knowing what it's going to pay back. But, oh my gosh, the thought of planning to go in debt is just ridiculous. And I see it so often. I see people just invest ridiculous amounts of money. And I say, so, what's it going to do for you? Well, my favorite is I'm going to invest $1 billion in writing a book. Great. So how are you going to make money with the book? Well, I'm going to sell the book. So let me see. So you're going to spend $25,000 to get the book done. And you're going to make on Amazon $5 a copy. So how many copies were you planning to sell? Right? You're not John Grisham. This isn't Harry Potter. If you're lucky, you're going to sell 5,000 copies over the next few years. So what's your plan? They're like, oh, didn't think about that. And it's just we talk about strategic plans, but we also have sales plans and marketing plans and whale hunting plans and plans for doing sales presentations and plans for going after CEO level clients. And it's really simple. When you decide what's the right thing to do, then you just go execute on it.
I'm so glad you brought up this book concept. I had this conversation with a friend of mine about 5 years ago. He said, well, I'm going to pay a ghostwriter. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this. It was like $50,000.
Holy moly.
And here's what I said to him. I just picked up a random book that was on my desk. And I said, hang on, here's your book. He says, what? I said, this is your book. Everything you spent the 50 grand. You got a carton of books. This is your book. Congratulations. Please sign my copy. Now what? He had this whole quest to build, and happens with online courses. Yep. It happens with books. It happens with, I'm gonna start a, what I've done for you agents. I'm going to hire 50 designers. And okay, you have that. Now what? Now, There's some good answers to that question, right? You say, well, I have the book. I am going to sign the book. I'm going to go and network. I'm going to meet 25 CEOs. I'm going to give them the book. And I'm going to say, I can come in and consult with you on this. Each of those consulting projects will be $100,000. I know 25 CEOs. I'll probably get 2 clients because they will read my book. But he was like dumb. He goes, no. That's not my book. I want it to be my book. I'm like, dude, pretend with me. This is your book. Now what? And he was literally speechless and motionless and couldn't tell me the first thing that he would do once that book is finished.
I wish that were an isolated incident, but I see it over and over and over. Just talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, "We're going to hire this branding agency." I said, "Great. What? Why? Like, how much money is this branding agency going to generate for you?" "Well, what do you mean? Do you want an expense or an investment?" Like, if you just want an expense, I'll take your money and do nothing for it. Or I'll go hire somebody cheap and get you a new logo. Like, I'm happy to take your money if that's what you really want to do. But like, let's think about an investment. Like, well, we want to make money. We want to make more sales. So you think a logo is going to make sales? Like, really? And they're like, oh, well, it's probably going to be more than a logo. Okay, so it's going to be a website too. Okay, great. And what's that going to do? Well, people are going to go there and they're going to buy from us. Like, they're going to go sign up for a $100,000 consulting gig on a website. And it's just like, really? Can we just stop and think about this for a minute?
I think we've had some of the same clients.
Yes. Yeah, it's when you really get it dialed in, when you really understand that your business is just a cash flow machine and that cash flow is the lifeblood of your business, but it's also, if you do it right, it's an asset. And I had a surprise phone call yesterday from a guy that I know pretty well. And he was calling to see if he could buy my business because he knows my cash flow and he knows the products and the way things run. And he said, look, I've got this other big, huge business and we could put yours inside mine and we could just blow it up. We could take, your tools in your products and your talent and put my team on it and take it through the roof. I was like, all right, well, let's talk. But I don't know that I want to work for anybody. We'll see. But that's the power of cash flow, right? Because that's all anybody ever wants to buy is future cash flow. And so if you do this business right, you can not only build an income stream, you can build an asset. And when it's time to retire, you have something to sell. And I'm going to tell you right now, your intellectual property is not something that people will buy. They will just wait for you to go out of business and they will steal it. And they're probably stealing it all along the way. But they want to buy the cash flow machine. And when you can put that together, particularly automated cash flow, now you have an asset. And there are tons of people out there that want to buy them.
Well, let's talk about that because one thing I'm hearing a lot about, and I'm sure you are too, and you're probably helping your clients put this into place. You hear about like the membership economy and the subscription-based monthly recurring revenue. It's the new black, right?
Yep.
How can we as a service business, as a, like you said, intellectual property, speakers, authors, coaches, consultants, when we're doing our planning, what are some viable subscription models, recurring revenue models? Because that's the other thing, right? When they're buying cash flow, the easiest and best and most attractive to a buyer is what's your recurring revenue?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, a coaching contract is a form of recurring revenue, right? Like, hey, we're going to just keep on going until the cows come home, or we've got a 1-year agreement or whatever. So that's sort of a traditional way of doing it. Let's say you want to do an online course, right? Well, what if you took this really intensive mega hour online course, which is incredibly difficult for people to consume, and broke it down into little teeny tiny pieces and drip them out every week and added a really good conversation in a private Facebook group and taught people little teeny bits of things over the course of a year. And they're actually doing it. They're talking about it and they're sharing their results. Now you have a recurring revenue stream, right? Because instead of paying you, $1,000 for the product that they're never going to use, now they're paying you $50, $60, $70 a month. And they're having engagement. They're getting little bits of stuff. They're talking to you over and over. And there's lots of folks out there that do this where they'll actually have a course component, a content piece, but their discussion groups are so robust that people will continue to pay just so they don't get locked out of those groups.
Right.
They want to make sure they get the invitations to the live events. They want to make sure that they get the invitations to the webinars. They want to be an insider. And they're willing to pay a monthly fee so that doesn't go away, right? It's the fear of missing out, FOMO. And so that's a super easy thing to do. And just dripping out a little bit of content. You can bring people together on monthly coaching calls and just answer their questions in small groups. That's another recurring revenue model. There's just so many things. There's you can just provide great content. Like if you're the world's most amazing blog writer and you just drop a hot blog every single week, you know what? People will pay $10 a month to have access to that.
What a great episode. Wowza. Tell you what, if you want to ramp up your revenue as an expert who speaks professionally, you should really check out our free online training at doitmarketing.com/webinar. I want to go to one other path and then want to wrap up with how people can get more Laura.
Sure.
How we can get connected and stay connected to your empire. You see a lot of people mimicking a strategy or a plan. So you say, oh, well, I followed this big successful internet marketer and he's got these $7 tripwires. He's got these $7 PDFs. I got another guy. Oh, he's doing the free book with shipping charge. I'm going to do free book with shipping. And these people that are having these ideas, they might have an email list of a few thousand people, not understanding that guru has an email list of a few 100,000 people.
Yeah.
And what works for a $7 tripwire is not going to get you a $10,000 speaking client or a $50,000 coaching client.
Yeah.
How do you help people take the stars out of their eyes and start looking at this more rationally, as opposed to, I want a tripwire, I want a book with shipping, I want to have a launch, I want to do this, I want to do that?
Yeah, I think some of it is just peeling back the layers. Like, so I know you're talking about with the $7 tripwire people, they have actually abandoned that strategy because it got too expensive. They were not able to make the economics work. And so sometimes I'll just sit down with people and say, well, let's look at the math to see how that's going to work, right? Like, let's see what has to happen to make these numbers work for you. And they go, oh, that's a lot of people. Like, yeah, your list will very nicely put $4,000 in your pocket this year. Sorry, but that's all you're going to make. And so sometimes it's just peeling back the lens and saying, look, take off the rose-colored glasses. Let's look at this, right? Let's go find some strategies of people that are your size, that have the assets that you have. If you want high-ticket clients, you got to talk to people one-on-one. It's not a mass market strategy. I like to have multiple strategies. I like to have the automated strategies. I like to have the consulting strategies. I like to have the ongoing coaching strategies. So I have monthly recurring revenue as well as project revenue. Because the project revenue tends to be the big stuff. It takes a while to build up that monthly recurring revenue to a point where you notice it, or it makes an impact on your life. And so I think a lot of it is just helping people understand, this guy's in the business of selling this program, right? Yes, it did work for this one person, but go look at the reviews and you'll see it didn't work for a lot of other people. Let's find a strategy that fits your personality. Because, you watch these guys and they're like, oh, they're so confident and they're so this and they're so that. And it's like, well, yeah, that's not you. If you couldn't step into that role, well, guess what? And they'll all tell you, I lost $1 bazillion before I made any.
Right.
They'll all say, my wife was ready to leave me. I could barely put food on the table. I was calling my dad for money. So let's just go find, you need to just talk to an individual person. And let's create a referral strategy so that you have happy customers. I love Stu McLaren has a thing he calls the circle of awesomeness. You make a sale, get results, get the story of the results, share the story, and make another sale. And the story makes the sale. And that circle just keeps going.
Yeah.
And so all you need is one client that you get results for, and get them to tell the story. Get that story out in the wild, and people will go, oh, I'm like that guy. Can you help me?
Right.
And it starts to spread. Like my strategic planning work, I just told you, I just got back from Colorado. That was a friend of mine called me up and says, hey, I have this client and they need somebody to come do strategic planning for them. And I told them they need to hire you. So the first call I had with them was, so can you come on these dates and how much is it going to cost us? Like, that was it. That was the sale. There was nothing to do. And so I think when you want to make those big ticket sales and you want to do those projects, just go talk to people. And when you get started, you're probably going to underprice them. I probably still underprice my stuff. It's my biggest Achilles heel. I don't know if I'll ever get over it. But I have a friend who says price scary plus 20%. And that's how you know it's the right number. And yeah, I mean, I just stop trying to be somebody else. I'm trying to remember, I think it was, I can't remember who said it. They said, be yourself, everybody else is taken.
Right.
And I just always remember that. It's like, yeah, just be you. Do things your way. Just because somebody says write copy this way doesn't, if that's not your voice, it's not going to work. People respond to the authenticity.
For sure. Well, I know that we're almost out of time, but before we turned on the camera, you were just flying around, jetting around, doing all kinds of stuff. You came back, you said, I have so much going on. So tell us, what is the next adventure? What's the next big project? What are you working on? What are you looking forward to in your business that's new and exciting and that has you so busy?
So I've been doing a ton of facilitation work for groups around strategic planning. The thing I'm like super, super excited about is bringing coaches on board. So I love doing the plans with people, and we have our online products. And so we get the plan done. What I really am excited about is having a team of coaches to help people implement it, right? To make sure that they're staying on top of it, that they're staying on their timelines, that they're getting things done, that if they get stuck or they go, well, how do I organize this? Or is there some software that makes it easier? Or where do I find a virtual assistant? Or, all these questions, they have somebody that's holding their hand and kicking their butt and making sure that they're getting it done. And so that's what I'm super excited about. I'm really interested in that. Let's build a community around folks that are going through the same planning process where we share a common language of planning and getting things done. And let's share resources, and let me bring in some really skilled implementation coaches to guide those discussions and make it work.
And Laura, these people would work under you, under your company, or they'd be independent, running their own businesses and doing this as one of their products?
Initially, they'll be working for me. It's really interesting. I have a lot of coaches that come to me and say, I want to coach your stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to teach. I love this plan so much. I use it all the time. I want to teach this. And I say, great, call me. Let's work it out. So the company I was just working for on Monday, they're just fresh in my mind. They actually do strategic planning. They just realize they can't do their own plan.
Of course.
Right? And so afterwards, they're like, we love your process. Can we use this with our clients?
And that's like a licensing kind of deal.
Absolutely. I said, sure, we'll work out a fee structure and I'll teach you how to really do it. And off we go.
But then the first thing that we talked about is Team Laura is now going to have more coaches than just Laura to help your clients with the implementation and the accountability.
Absolutely. Because for me, I love the creation of the plan. That's my superpower.
Yeah.
The implementation and the sticking with it for a long time is so not me.
Right.
Because the first time you call and say, I didn't get my stuff done, I'm like, okay, well, call me when it's done. I just don't want to talk. But I have coaches that are brilliant at that. They will dig back all the layers and they will find all of the reasons you're not getting done and they'll fix it.
Right.
And I love those people.
Absolutely. Well, as far as starting versus long-term implementation, although my company is called Do It Marketing, it really should be just called Do It the First Time.
Yeah.
I like doing it the first time, the ongoing repetition, long-term. It's like I'm already asleep.
Yeah. And I'm right there with you. And so I'm fortunate to have some really amazing people that I work with who hate the startup piece and love the long-term. That lights them up. They love to see those incremental changes. So it's a perfect fit.
Really amazing. Well, Laura Posey, how do people get connected and stay connected to your world? Also, we're going to do it up here in the show notes. We're going to make sure that people have the links right to Command Central. Where should we be going?
All right. So we're going to simplesuccessplans.com. We have a fabulous blog, put out some new stuff every week, and you'll always learn something. But my favorite thing to do is to give people a tool that they can use, right? Because you can go look around the website, you can buy stuff, that's great. But I want you to have something that you can use today and every single day. So we have what we call our daily success checklist. And it's available for free. It's just simplesuccessplans.com/daily. And you're going to get a blank version of the Daily Success Checklist. You get a printable version and then a fillable PDF. So you can either print it and write on it, or you can type in it. You can make as many copies as you want. I'm going to give you a sample so that you know how to fill it out. And I have a tutorial video with it that walks you through each of the different sections and exactly how to do it. So you cannot screw it up. You cannot fail. Everything you need is in there. It's 100% free. And just that little thing, doing that every single day will change your life.
There you go. Mic drop. Mic drop, mic drop, mic drop. Laura Posey, thank you so much. This is fantastically valuable. People need to go there. They need to go there now. So simplesuccessplans.com. That's the whole empire. simplesuccessplans.com/daily. Daily. D-A-I-L-Y, daily. To get your super secret, it's not really secret, it's right there on the homepage, but super secret daily success checklist. It will change your life. It will change your world. This interview, if you rewind, re-listen to it, it will also change your life and change your world. And thanks for being on with us.
Thanks for having me, David. I could talk about this stuff all day, as you could probably tell. I'm so grateful to be here and be able to share this with your listeners.
Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.